The following video will be concerning the subject matter of sovereign citizens and other groups of people that play sort of games with words. This also includes, and will be thrown in with, as a big melting pot, people who are into quantum grammar and that sort of thing. But I'm going to be discussing an individual that won't listen when I basically explain you have to stay on topic and you can't post here anymore. As of today, all comments the person's left are going to be erased in about 5 minutes after I do the video. Just like a fake Christian will misquote the Bible and gets caught most often by atheists, of all things, because religious people, even if they are doing wrong, won't be criticized by other religious people because they want to seem unified. And just like there's literally the Reagan doctrine of you will not criticize a fellow conservative even when they're wrong. We find people who are claiming as sovereign citizens, lawyers, or judges, or any group of people that usually likes to throw around non-existent authority, they'll misquote anything they can get their hands on, including Black's Law Dictionary, which disproves the idea that Admiralty law should be even mentioned as far as the courts or any legal system. Admiralty law has to do with laws of the sea, etc., and is not related to a fringe on a flag or anything. Now, what will happen is when you make a statement, especially a factual statement, evasion will happen. Now, I discussed several videos, and I don't want to do any more of them, about Marcus Servant King, the author of Unraveled, Confusion, Programs, Reclaiming Your Insecurities is the new channel that he uses. He did a bunch of sovereign citizen shit, as I call it, and a bunch of other things before that, including running a falconry location with, at one point, over 200 animals on it, birds mostly, obviously, and at one time killed them all and buried them, which someone asked me, I want proof of that, so I said, well, he said it, that's why I was reading it from his blog, and he ran a marijuana farm, which at one time was illegal. He got arrested for it, but by the time it went to trial, they already legalized it, so they figured let him go. There's no point. He was technically violating a law and committing a felony or whatever, but my opinion on this is just leave him alone. That was dumb. But technically he's a felon, I guess, but well, not really. But he never really explained a lot of these things, but he did state that those had happened. And like all good sovereign citizen purveyors, he's very good at reimagining himself and remaking himself into some other mythology. And at one point, he ran a set of videos on his channel and then got mad when people wouldn't buy things from him or something. Not really clear exactly what happened. But at one point, he made it very obvious that if you didn't give him money, he was going to withhold some deep truth and not help you. Before that, he was very open about, no, you spread these anywhere you want to. Give me credit. And if you want to, you can buy them. And eventually, if you're going to repost them, you need to pay me. Maybe they drove him to it. But anyway, he's an ex-pot grower and ex-falconer who killed his birds. And he did a set of videos that at one point he made transcripts of, because like me, he would do a script. And YouTube provides a transcript of verbal stuff, and on screen it matched what was on the screen roughly. And the transcripts he uploaded in various file formats like Word and in RTF format or whatever, also matched this, so I used the one that had the most data. If it wasn't in the video, at least it included what was in the video. And I'm the one who made an archive of most of this. I don't have to agree with you to decide that your work should not disappear from the internet. But that also bothered him because that meant that anything he said in the past he would be stuck with, as he tried to remake himself into something new so that he wouldn't be shackled by the past or held accountable for anything he got wrong. And in my evaluations of his work, I tracked down what he said by looking at the transcript. Again, I compared enough of them to make sure I did have the right data. And I did the equivalent to watching all the videos when I did those videos. And then later, because people said you have to listen to the videos, you can't just read things, I sat through him droning on, like I am now, that can be used basically to massage the brain or brainwash a person. And I survived it, and it wasn't any different than what I'd evaluated before. And again, he never really provided any proof of what he was saying. He had provided links if you chased them down, but again, he's the one who tore all that down and said, give me money or I won't put it up again. And he seemed to be doing it in a snippy way to his viewers that were supporting him. But I don't know. That's an assumption on my part. So I get this. I'm going to bring up the most on-topic stuff first, and then the screaming match the person did afterwards. You're right, Admiralty is not a court. Again, Black's Law disproves Admiralty law or anything about the laws of the sea having anything to do with the court system. People cite it because it mentions that subject, but it says it's not really involved in it. And sovereign citizens will claim they're not in an authentic, real court because no court's authentic because they're being sued or have to pay a parking ticket. Then the person says, a court is a venue of law, just like common law, equity, and so on. Now you're mixing metaphors and shit. Equity, law, common law, blah, blah, blah. Look up the definitions and deal with the fact that they're strictly defined and that you have to follow the laws in this country because we say so if you're in our country. And if you're in Russia, you have to follow their laws or you're going to get punished. Civil disobedience is still disobedience and you will be punished. Just like common law, equity, yada, yada. What am I confessing to? A Marcus conspiracy? What I told him is he had to confess to the fact, number one, that I'd archived all of Marcus's stuff, and number two, I wanted him to actually acknowledge anything about the video I did instead of going on and on about it. Not about what I said, but about Marcus. This is a cheerleader. Now we're going to cover the most rational-ish statements first, and make it not about me, obviously, here, if we can. Why don't you try making a video giving your points of view of the subjects he touches on? I did. You refused to watch it. You refused to read the description, which has all the links, and almost a perfect copy of what I'm talking about. And more importantly, some of the points I made were statements made by Marcus, and I was simply repeating it. I'm not sure how you're arguing I'm saying something about him that's not true when it's what he said. They're not even out of context. What did your study of things come up with for you for things like person, nation, scripture, and God? I'm an atheist, so God is not part of the equation for a court case. Some people would even argue, rational people, that God is in courts. No, don't ever accuse God of taking part in that. Maybe Loki or the devil himself. But what about a nation? The word nation actually has several meanings. Sovereign citizens always misinterpret it. Scripture, again, nothing to do with it. Scripture does not dictate law. The origin of wanting to make laws like we're in Scripture is similar, but that's not where we get the law from. Yes, there are politicians that will say the Bible is where our laws come from. That isn't true. Period. It isn't. The Talmud has rules. The Quran has rules. And you object to entire legal systems that are based on literally using a Bible, their Quran. You object to it strongly. So would I. That's why we don't use it. We're a secular society. We're not founded on your decision to have God, Scripture, all of this be the definition of your nature, your nation, and the word person. How is this different from Marcus? I actually quote Bible accurately. I quote the sources he did accurately when I was refuting him because he was misquoting them, or just simply ignoring them and just babbling on about something unrelated. If you're going to cite a dictionary page on the word person and ignore the definitions in it, why did you bother putting in the citation unless you're going to just lie? That's just bullshit. So how is it different from Marcus? I use the accurate, real definitions and don't misquote shit. That would be very different. What evidence do you have? Well, the same citations he used, exactly the same in one page. One YouTube channel had a copy of it where I got all of his citations, ignored what he said, and read the damn citations. He gave accurate citations. Well, it's on this part of this work on this page. Meanwhile, he also quoted a non-existent emerald tablet that's literally a myth. I can quote it too, but I'll tell you ahead of time, it has nothing to do with anything involving your parking ticket. Maybe you ought to go back and review his videos over again. I already did it. Go fuck yourself. I'm also, again, one of the people who archived all of the text version of it, and I didn't tell anybody this. I archived all of the videos. He took them down out of being spiteful. I put them up for spite. Look up the things he points out. I did. At this point, this just keeps repeating here. Why don't you watch his videos? Because I'm not going to give him the page views. Why don't you watch them all the way through several times? Because I'm not here to get indoctrinated. It worked on you. It doesn't work on me. Because I actually fact-check what he's saying, and they weren't factual in most cases. Yes, some of the things he said were true, like he was quoting the fact that it was Tuesday when he said it, or something like that. That doesn't count. The main meat and potatoes of what he said went nowhere. He's making assertions without being able to back it up properly in some cases. And no, I'm not going to go into details because you're a troll demanding my time and energy. Why does it matter if he pulled his stuff down? I just explained it. You save them for all to see. And then he mockingly says, I'm being a humanitarian. No, I just don't let people take down the evidence I'm using against them because the best evidence to use against a fraud is their own goddamn statements. I'm not calling him a fraud legally. I'm stating that he, as a person, is a fraud, as a human being. By the way, that's not actionable in court. Yes, I'm lawyering up a little. Here we go. My comments to you are about you, not about nothing but your opinion about Marcus's work. I think it's crap. Okay. You won't address the subject matter of what we're talking about, so I don't have to treat you with respect, but I am doing it anyway. I claim Marcus has not shown proofs of his claims. Yes, and I demonstrated it in another set of videos. I'm just tired of doing this every few years. The only one who's made unproven claims is you. I provide citations to it. By the way, I also provided, I didn't notice this, archives, if you clicked them, to the previous videos where I went point by point on it. But it doesn't matter to you because you didn't click a damn thing. By the way, you can track that under analytics if someone clicked a link in the video. You didn't. Nobody does. I looked at Marcus's stuff up. There's plenty of proofs for anyone with an intellectual mind. This is the common claim. If you don't agree with me, you must be too stupid to believe it. That's fucking dog shit. That is absolute bullshit. You didn't look up anything he said because you're not quoting it. I'm not going to quote it anymore if you won't. You did not check his citations to see if they went anywhere. I'm the one who dug them up when they were erased and found them in archives. Or found secondary sources so I could find a copy of it someplace. So I could actually discuss what he's talking about. Oh, the evidence has been deleted. No, Marcus, it wasn't deleted. I found it. I found your citation. And what he said was in the work was not real. In fact, he deliberately cited some things, may have, right as they were being erased by the website. Marcus gave evidence out the wazoo. Marcus gave a bunch of statements and assertions and provided, I guess, a few links going somewhere that didn't actually back up anything and weren't really authoritative. It was his opinion versus the world, which is actually something I think he said at one point. How many definitions and references do you need? It's not the number of definitions and references. It's whether or not they contain what he said they did. If I gave you a citation going to the Wikipedia page about Apollo 11 and I quoted something about sauerkraut that isn't there, that means the citation doesn't mean anything, right? Marcus' stuff is all up. He took it down at one point. You keep ignoring that he took it down, and I had archived it and kept it from ever disappearing, and then he put it back up only when he wasn't able to get more money. But that's my assertion. That's a conclusion on my part. You can still go to his website and find all of them. Which one of the 5 he had? He's destroyed most of them, and they all said slightly different things. You're not looking up archives. All of his videos are still up. You keep saying that. I don't think it means what you think it means. Then he goes on to this. You can try to hush me all you want. That's the end result for shills. A shill is a person who's trying to market something and hide that they're doing it. Me telling you to shut up because you won't discuss the subject matter and you keep going on, being a shill and a troll, fuck you. That's the response you deserve. Always leaving the argument by pleading ignorance. I don't plead ignorance. I've actually read what he said. You didn't. You're just saying he must be right and you don't like me talking about it. You just didn't like his information, or Marcus. Why? You didn't really disprove anything. You gave arguments based on your opinions. That's called being a shill. No, that's not the definition of shill either. Go look up get a damn dictionary and a thesaurus. And spell check shit, please. You can resort to blocking me and playing mini-god by pressing a button, but you're still a shill. That's not the definition of a shill. And by the way, I told you I was going to block you. I told you that I was going to erase you. Then you commented. I obviously didn't do it. I'm still not going to block you, but I'm going to delete the comments because this is bullshit. You've been archived. It's stuck here. Full verbatim copy, slightly reworded and retyped because of the spelling errors, and I don't even know what the fuck happened in one place here. And I'm deleting you from my channel because I don't want you to be there anymore. The archives below are archive PHs right below an archive listing to his YouTube channel. I think it is his. I'm not really sure at this point. You did not stay on topic. You yelled at me and called me shill and used the wrong definition for it. I really hate that. Next. Have a good day. Thanks for watching. Good.